Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are going to check out another brand new Mattel Jurassic World release. We've got ourselves another of these Dino Reveal 2-packs. These did recently come out on Amazon with the first wave. This set I found on Walmart's website, so a little bit different from the last time. And as you can see, we've got some pretty interesting dinosaurs in this, and as always, some really cool art. I love the artwork that's always here on the front of the package. I think it's probably some of the coolest that Mattel has created so far. Unfortunately, there are two of these sets. I was only able to get one here for this review. I did order both of them, but the other one for some reason took a very strange route on its way here, and I don't know when it's getting here. So I figured rather than waiting for the other to arrive, I would just review each set individually, I guess. As far as the packaging and stuff goes, you can see some images here on the side basically showing off the fact that, again, you change the color of the dinosaurs. There's also two dinosaurs included, and then here on the back you can see Epic Battle Arena, and then of course the dinosaurs and everything that we have in this set. So let's go ahead, pop the box open and check them out. So you do have the little battle arena, as they say. Basically this is where you want to put the water so you can change the colors of the figures. You also have two dinosaurs in these little baggies. The baggies do sport the Jurassic logo on them. If we open the bags up and we see who we have inside, obviously we could tell by the packaging, but also once we open the sets up themselves, you can see that first of all we have a Protoceratops, which is pretty cool to finally see this one back in the line again. I actually can't recall if these figures were like this before. So far from what I remember, the Dino Reveal figures kind of had the skeleton sort of look. I don't remember if the two packs had the skeleton look or this look, but either way we just have a dark green tone. And then the other one that we have here very clearly is an Alioramus, but we'll go ahead and open it up to confirm. So there you can definitely see again the Alioramus now in just a light brown color. So it's not so heartbreaking to change these ones. The other ones, sometimes it's oh man, they look so cool with the skeleton thing going on, and then you have to change them. But these ones are kind of boring, just being plain colors, almost looking like weird prototypes. So it's not so bad to go ahead and, change the colors of these guys. But that's really about it as far as what we have at this point. I'm going to have to throw some water in this, and then we'll change the colors of these figures. So we've got the water here. We have the water currently hot, so that's what's going to change the dinosaurs all together. So we're going to go ahead and throw this one in, and then we'll see what it looks like. So I think we might be close to good now on this one. We'll have to try to clean it off, wipe it off a little bit, see if we can get everything off of it, and then we'll check that one out. We've also, of course, got the Protoceratops, so let's get that one done. I think we might be pretty good on this one, so we'll go ahead, clean it off, and check this one out as well. So here are both of our dinosaurs now fully transformed into their standard colorations, and I must say they do look pretty decent. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I actually quite like this line because it's kind of unimportant dinosaur figures coming from Mattel, but it's still a chance to have other paint variants. So if you don't want to collect them, you don't have to, but if you want to have different variations of the dinosaurs that are already out there, you can, and it's great to have other species that, well, in this instance, we've had a few different paint variants of each of these, but, in some of the other sets, we had figures that we didn't really have other paint variants of, so it's pretty cool to actually be able to get stuff like that. But we're going to go ahead and readjust the camera here just briefly, and then bring each of them in to take a look at them. First of all, we have the Alioramus, and we actually just recently had an Alioramus in that RC vehicle set as well, so we've got quite a few of these guys out. I think this might be the fourth version, if I remember correctly, maybe the third. But either way, this one's pretty fun, actually. You've got some decent paint apps here with a dark brownish tone in the face that my camera doesn't want to focus on. There we go. Dark brownish tone for a good portion of the face. You've got some light reds that kind of pattern back here behind the eye and then lead back here through that little area of feathers. You can also see some green kind of striping and patterning here through the palette area. We do have a red eye with a nice black pupil, I think. Kind of looks like it's a black pupil and not just the dark brown that we have for the majority of the head. We actually have painted teeth, which is nice. You know, I was actually kind of expecting a little laziness when it comes to these, especially after that recent advent calendar that had some pretty lazy figures, especially as far as like paintwork for the insides of the mouths. But this one does have a nice pinkish tone for the inside of the mouth, and you do also have a gloss coat in there. Oddly enough, the kind of skin stretching isn't painted on the inside of the mouth, only on the outside, which I think is something that's a little different than standard Mattel, but it is what it is. You can see a little sloppiness, you know, to the paintwork of the tongue right there, but it's not too bad overall. It is nice to have an articulated jaw in general on the figure. We don't, unfortunately, have any sort of like neck articulation or anything as we move down. You can see a light tone for the lower jaw that leads down and disappears as you lead into the chest. We do, of course, have arm articulation forward and back, which is nice. Unfortunately, no paintwork for the claws, of course. And as you can see moving through the figure, the sculpt of this is exactly the same as the previously released versions of the Alioramus. We do have more of that dark brown moving along the back, kind of trailing there along the spinal column, but disappearing right after the hip region, and then a greenish tone of color for the primary body color of our Alioramus, and that's really it. I don't see any speckling or anything. There's no alternate coloration for the underside, no coloration, of course, out on the tail, no painted claws on the feet or anything. So, you know, the paintwork of these guys, it's usually pretty basic. It's not normally all that flashy, and you can see it is exactly the same case here with these ones, but it is still a pretty cool looking version, honestly, of the Alioramus, and I'm really happy to have another version. And if you know me, you know I love Protoceratops, so anytime Mattel's going to release a new version of the Protoceratops, I'm completely in, and we can see this one is, of course, again, the same sculpt as the older version, but still a pretty decent looking new version as far as the paint apps go. Nothing overly flashy, but I kind of wouldn't expect a super impressive amount of flashiness for a Protoceratops. I'm not sure why, but we can see a nice brownish tone for the primary body color. We do also have a darker brown that moves up and over the top of the frill, which you can see kind of patterning around, which does look pretty cool. We have a green eye with a black pupil that also looks pretty decent. There we go. You can focus camera when you want to. As you move back, you don't have any jaw articulation or anything, of course, but you do have swivel neck articulation. It doesn't go forward and back, doesn't go left to right, just swivels. That's about it. But you can see, again, trying to give you a shot from up here, we do have more of that darker brown that runs along the course of the dinosaur and just kind of patterns down. And as you move back, we have that brown ending again as you move back there past the hip region before we lead into the tail, and you do, of course, have more of that brown moving down through the thigh, leading down, and that's really about it before that disappears. But you do have an injury on this one. Over here on the other side, you can see, again, you've got like a mixture of like pinks and purplish tones and stuff all throughout the leg area here. It's a very interestingly strange coloration that we have here that's kind of meant to look like an injury, but doesn't really look so much like an injury. And I remember the last time I had these figures, the healing portion of them didn't work too well, so I'm not going to expect it to work too well this time either. As you move back, again, no coloration out there on the tail, no coloration for the feet, no coloration for the underside, so basically just very bare bones as far as that goes. You do, of course, also have leg articulation forward and back, same deal for the rear legs, and a swivel tail. Also, as far as the Alioramus goes, we do have a swivel tail for that one, and leg articulation again forward and back. They don't come out away from the body, just forward and back, so pretty basic articulation for these guys. So I'm going to go ahead, I've got our little sponge here, I'm going to get some cold water, which I have over here to the side on the sponge, get it nice and moistened with it, and then we'll see if we can wipe away this injury, see if it actually works this time, because it didn't work last time, and it doesn't look like it's working this time either. I don't know if I just have yet to figure out how to actually do this or what, but maybe I dab it. I forget exactly how I'm supposed to do this, but certainly doesn't seem to be working, honestly. And I feel like this is exactly the same situation that I had last time. Yeah, the healing thing just never works for me. I don't understand why. So oddly enough, now after dabbing it with the cold water, it did seem to kind of change it, you know, colors a little bit. Sort of changed this to more like a brown. And then this stuff is like now like a yellow and then reds. So honestly, it looks more like an injury now that I dabbed it with the cold water than it did before. I don't know. I don't think I understand these figures or something. Looking for an injury on the Alioramus. I don't think this one actually does have one. I'm pretty sure it's just meant to be the herbivore that ends up suffering damage, and the Alioramus does not, unfortunately. So no healing. Whoops. No healing for the Alioramus. As far as sizes or comparisons or anything like that goes, no need for any of that, because these figures are absolutely the same size as all of the other versions of them that have come out in the past. The Alioramus is no doubt the same size as the previous release. It's no doubt the same sculpt as the previous release, and the same can be said for the Protoceratops. There is just no difference other than the color aspect of these figures compared to the older ones. And they do tend to have altered articulation and stuff, but like for the most part, they are going to look pretty close to the way that they looked previously, just new colorations. But again, it is another fun set. Very cool species choices making another round here. Mattel has tons of really cool species. I would like to see them introduced to this line because there's so many more that we could get that we have not had for a long time. And, that would be really fun. Maybe even larger figures at some point they could release in this Dino Reveal color changing gimmick. I kind of feel like that's not going to happen, and I almost feel like these are going to fade away soon, but they've been fun for sure. And again, two really cool species. The Alioramus is pretty nice looking. I actually really quite like the colors of that one. The Protoceratops as well is really quite nice, very natural looking overall. So again, if you like these species, I would definitely recommend picking this set up. So I will include a link in the description to the listing on Walmart.com where you can grab them if you want them. So check that link, grab them again, add them to your collection if you want them, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.